Hello everyone, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Keisha and today I'm going to be talking about my November content and reading plans. Just in case you missed my last video, I am going to be incorporating some new content here on my channel. I'm not leaving BookTube. I have gotten a couple questions about that. I'm not leaving BookTube, but I am going to incorporate some Christian YouTuber content into the content that I already create. So hopefully that's okay with you guys, but if not, I'm very happy to do it, and I'm just really happy to be sharing this part of myself with you guys. I think some of you may know that I'm a Christian, but I just haven't shared a ton of my faith online, and that's about to change. I'm just very geared up and ready to go and share that with you all. So that is going to come into some of my content. I guess we'll go ahead and start and let me share my content plans with you for November, and then I'll jump into the books that I want to read. So as far as the content goes, the next video that you can expect from me after this one will be a kind of recent reads wrap up of a few of the books that I want to talk about that I read in August, September, and October, because I have not been keeping up with my wrap-ups. I've read some of my favorite books over the past few months, but I've also read some just pretty meh books. So I'm just going to pick and choose which ones I want to talk about, and the next video you'll see will be a wrap-up of those. Then after that, I think I'm going to spend a week of sharing my shelves with you. So what I'm planning to do is do like a Bible and theology book shelf tour, a Christian nonfiction book shelf tour, and a Christian fiction book shelf tour. So I'm really excited to share all of those books with you guys. I don't think I've ever fully shared all of them before. It is going to be kind of one of the videos has the opportunity to be really long if I try to explain all the books, so I've got to figure out how I want to do that, but I am excited to share those books here. Other than that, I don't really know what I have planned for the month. I am going to be doing some reading sprints on my channel on November 2nd with my friend Yvette, so you can look forward to those. I'll probably do some more reading sprints throughout the month because I just love hanging out with my friends and getting books read and being productive. But other than that, I think I'll probably do like some Christian reading vlogs, or I might just do some like Bible study vlogs or random like this is what God's laid on my heart and what I want to share type videos. So I honestly don't know other than that what to tell you to expect from me, but that is a good start, I think. Let's go ahead and jump into the books. So I won't dwell on this one because I know I've brought it up a lot lately, but my Christian book club does start this month. I have started a Christian book club. If you didn't already hear, it's called Revive, and I'll have the Instagram link down below where you can find out all the information about it. And the first book that we're going to read for the book club, which is perfect for nonfiction November, is Every Woman a Theologian by Felicia Masonheimer. And the subtitle of this book says, "Know what you believe, live it confidently, communicate it graciously." I think this is going to be the perfect first book for us to read, just to kind of like get our feet wet, to dive in to scripture, to dive into just our like basic faith core values. This book is written in a non-biased perspective by Felicia, who is going through the different doctrines of Christianity. So you're going to go through things like the doctrine of Christ, the doctrine of the Trinity, the doctrine of end times, different things like that. And it's coming from, again, a very unbiased perspective, a very like general theology perspective in basic terms. I know theology can sometimes be a scary term for people. There are a lot of big words, but she puts this in a way where it's very simple to understand. And I think this is going to be a good book for us to kind of identify our beliefs, solidify our beliefs, and be able to communicate those graciously with others. Next up, I want to talk about some of the buddy reads that I have this month. So I guess that was a buddy read. I only have one other buddy read for the month, and that is The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. Now, this is a loose buddy read because I may not end up finishing this. I'm not really sure yet if this is going to be the book for me. The reason that I'm really intrigued by it and the reason that I really want to read it is because I read his other book, The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. That was one of the first books that I read coming onto BookTube, and I really loved the mystery of it. It was one that you really had to pay attention to, but not as much as you think you do, and the twist was amazing. So I really want to get to this one. He does have a new book coming out in 2024 that I also want to get to, but this one has been on my shelves for a while. The only thing about this one is when I read the synopsis, there are some things in here that I'm not sure about. I think there's like a potential, they're like, is a demon haunting this ship that they're on? And I don't think it's going to go in that direction, but just with some of the things that were listed, I'm not really sure. So basically what it's about is this man named Samuel Pipps He is the world's greatest detective, and he's being transported to Amsterdam to be executed for a crime he may or may not have committed. This book is set in 1634. There are other travelers on the ship, but no sooner than their ship takes off than devilry begins to blight the voyage. A strange symbol appears on the sail, a dead leper stalks the decks, livestock dies in the night, and then passengers hear a terrible voice whispering to them in the darkness, promising 3 unholy miracles, followed by a slaughter. First, an impossible pursuit, second, an impossible theft, and third, an impossible murder. Could a demon be responsible for their misfortunes? So I'm not really sure how deep into this it's going to go with potentially like demonic or satanic things. If it goes too deep, I'm probably going to put the book down just because I don't care to read anything like that, but I hope that it doesn't go too far. I'm just now noticing there's a pentagram on this compass. Honestly, you can go ahead and bet that I'm not going to finish this one, and I may replace it with another book later this month, but right now we're just going to stick with the TBR that I have. On a lighter note, my friend Gwen has a Patreon that I'm a part of, and she's hosting a really fun readathon this month. It's called Squash Your Goals. And so it's just basically a readathon to help you read any books that you didn't get to until the end of this year that you're trying to finish up with. But her prompts are really easy and flexible, and so I really appreciate that. I don't have any books that have really been sitting on my shelves all year that I'm wanting to get to, and I'm not really in a super readathon-y mood this month. However, I wanted to participate, and again, her prompts were so easy that I was able to fill them. Hi, Jovi. Are you going to join the party? Jovi said, I was in there chomping on my food, and now I'm coming to see Mama. Yeah. My sweet girl. Anyways, so I was able to pick 2 books to fill. I think there's like 5 prompts. And so I don't remember the prompts right now, but I'll just go ahead and tell you what the books are. The first one is Wolfwalkers by, well, okay, this is adapted by Sam Satin and based on the film by Tom Moore and Ross Stewart. So this is the same people that, or these are the same people that did Song of the Sea that I read earlier this year, and it was really good. This has such beautiful artwork throughout. I'm really excited to read it. I don't know a ton of what it's about. I just know that there's this girl and her dad who are sent by this prince or this lord or somebody to kill these wolves that are like potentially terrorizing the town. But when she gets there, she ends up going off on this adventure with this kind of like wild person. I think they're wild. A wild girl. Yeah, that's how she's described. And she learns about wolf walkers and that wolves aren't as bad as what people seem. And she learns about, so wolf walkers also are people that can transform into wolves. And you have a friendship that brews and you have truth that comes forward. And I just think this is going to be a really good book. And also, again, it has beautiful artwork. And the next book that I have for the readathon is The Door-to-Door Bookstore by Carson Henn. I have really been looking forward to getting to this one. I'm so excited for it. It's really short, so I feel like it's a great readathon book. And honestly, it's just giving me like AJ Fickery vibes, even though it's not even remotely the same thing. But let me just tell you what it's about. It says, small-town German bookseller Karl Kohlhoff delivers his books to special customers in the evening hours after closing time, walking through the picturesque alleys of the city. These people are almost like friends to him, and he is their most important connection to the world. When Kohlhoff unexpectedly loses his job, it takes the power of books and a 9-year-old girl to make them all find the courage to rebuild their bonds with each other. So this is a feel-good novel about books and friendship, and that just sounds like the perfect book to me. Next, I have a cozy mystery that I've been itching to get to. I skipped out on this one last year. I believe the Cozy Hollow Book Club read this one, and I just wasn't super interested in the synopsis. But this year, I wanted to give it a try because I've heard good things, and I just want to see, since I've dipped my toe into some more cozy mysteries, if I'll like this. So most of you have probably heard of this one before. It is Apple Cider. I knew I was going to mess up. Apple Cider Slaying by Julie Ann Lindsay. This is the first in the Cider Shop Mystery Series. And yes, it goes into more Christmassy themes, but November is like getting closer to Christmas. But I do think it starts around Thanksgiving. So it kind of has a little bit of fall vibe starting out and then goes into Christmas. So I think November is the perfect month to read this one. It says, apples are at the core of the family business run by Winona Mae Montgomery and her Granny Smith. But this year's crop is unreasonably ripe with murder. I don't know a lot about this going in. I don't want to know too much, but I hope that this can be another one of my favorite new favorite cozy mysteries. Then I have a challenge for myself. I have been wanting to read this modern classic for quite some time now, and I've put it off because I'm just not a classic book girly. But I'm hoping that this is the perfect time for me to read it. I feel in the mood for it. I just rewatched for the second time the newer movie that was adapted from this book with Armie Hammer, and Lily James, I think, is the one that played the girl with no name in this book. But that is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I originally picked this book up a couple years ago because my sister-in-law Grace, who loves classics and is just really good about like reading classic literature and appreciating it and understanding it, and I'm not. She told me that maybe since this is a modern classic, I would enjoy it, so I picked it up, but I've already watched the movie, and I feel like maybe having the visuals in my head will help me get into this one. So I did read the first page of it before I put it on my TBR officially because I wanted to make sure I was in the mood, and I think that I am. So for those of you who don't know what this is about, this essentially follows this girl. I don't know if she's like this in the book, but in the movie, she is like, I don't know if she's a maid or an assistant to this woman, but anyways, she is kind of lower class society, and she ends up falling in love with Maxim de Winter, who is this rich man. He is described as a wealthy, handsome widower. So he is a young widower. Why can I not say words today? And she falls in love with him. They get married, and she goes back to Manderley, which is his estate. And when she gets there, he starts to act a little bit strange, and she sees that Rebecca is everywhere. She's passed away, but her presence or memories of her or just like this essence of her is still kind of at Manderley, and she starts to feel a little uncomfortable. She's unraveling secrets. This is like a dark gothic story. It's hard to say I really love the story because it's a dark story, but it's very interesting, and I hope that I love it as much in text format as I did watching it. I also am going to be bringing a book over from my October TBR that I didn't get to. I'm still not sure if I'll get to it this month. I do really want to read it, but I'm just reading a lot slower these days, so I don't have as many books on my list to read. But that is The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield, and essentially this is just about an author who is ready to tell her story. She's at the end of her life, and she's ready to talk about her life, and she hires this biographer to come in and tell her story. The biographer also has kind of a tragic past. They bond over that. You learn all these dark secrets, and it just sounds like a really good time to me. And lastly, I have a couple of Christian nonfiction books on my list. The first one is What If Love Is the Point by Carlos and Alexa Penavega. So I did grow up with both of these actors. Alexa Vega was on Spy Kids. She played Carmen. And then Carlos was a part of, and still is a part of, Big Time Rush, which was both a show and a band that I grew up with. And they are both very public about their faith, and I'm really excited to just read from a celebrity perspective that is Christ-centered. This is a short book. I did also just finish reading Britney Spears' memoir, and I think after that I'm itching for another memoir, and I'm really excited to jump into this one again because they are like celebrities professing their faith. So I'm really excited to see how they came to Jesus, how that molded their career, where they are now, and how they take a stand for that in Hollywood. So really excited to read this one. I'll probably try to get the audiobook if I can. And then the last book that I have is Beholding and Becoming: The Art of Everyday Worship by Ruth Chow Simons. So this book I'm really excited about because it is beautiful. And I know that sounds so silly, but I'm just really excited to flip through this artwork, to behold this artwork in this book. So Ruth takes all of these different symbols in the artwork, like she has intention with the artwork is what I'm trying to say. So in the beginning of the book, there's a glossary that tells about her paintings. So for example, she incorporates bees in her paintings because bees symbolize workers that produce great dividends. She incorporates beetles because they're unwanted and unfavorable, but sometimes secretly helpful. And then birds are representative of God's value and care for his children, and so on and so forth. She goes on to mention why she includes all these different beautiful works of art in this book. So essentially, all that I know this is about is just talking about beholding and becoming. So the back of the book says, you're in the process of becoming. Every day is an opportunity to be shaped and formed by what moves your heart, drives your thoughts, captures your gaze. Is it any wonder that where you direct your eyes and your heart matters in your day-to-day? We become what we behold when we set our eyes and minds on Christ and his redemption story here in the details of our daily lives. Not just on Sunday, not just on holidays, not just when extraordinarily hard or wonderful things happen, but today. Today is an opportunity for God to demonstrate his love and his faithfulness in the midst of your mundane. No circumstance is too ordinary or too forgotten for him to meet you there in worship. His transforming grace turns your everyday ordinary into a holy place of becoming. So I'm kind of going to use this as a little bit of a devotional There are like 16 sections that have a becoming and beholding section. So I'm going to try to read those like every day or every other day. I mean, there's like 30 days in the month, so I can definitely get through this if I just read one every other day. So I wanted to go ahead and read this one because I'm really excited. Again, it's beautiful, so that's the initial draw, but also the season of my life is just really about you become what you behold, and I am definitely trying to fix my eyes on the right things, fix my eyes on Jesus, and keep him the main thing and the one thing that's in everything else in my life. So I feel like this is very fitting for the season that I'm in. And that's going to be all the books that I plan to read this month. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to read every single one of these books. It also doesn't mean that I'm not going to switch any of these books out. Again, especially with The Devil in the Dark Water, I'm now that I've like sat down here contemplating whether or not I want to read that or not, or if I want to switch it out. If I do switch it out, I'll go ahead and let you know what I'm thinking of switching it out with. Possibly Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson, because I still haven't gotten to that one and I'm very interested. I don't know. I think that's probably the one. I have other ones that I have on my mind, but that will probably be the priority one. Maybe The Minuscule Mansion of Myra Malone by Audrey Burgess, but we'll see. You'll just have to stay tuned, and I don't know if I'll do like a wrap up at the end of this month or if I'll just wait until like the end of December and wrap up November and December. I have no idea. So you'll just have to stay tuned to see. But if you made it this far in the video, if you would go ahead and leave me some type of flower emoji down below, that would be awesome. Let me know what book you're really excited to read this month, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, friends.